There are a few ways in English to talk about habits that you did in the past, but you don't do them right now. So, there are some instances in English when you want to talk about activities or habits or even situations that existed in the past and they don't exist in the present, which means that the situation in the present is different to how it was in the past. And today's grammatical structure, the one we are going to discuss in today's lesson, is a structure that's used for that purpose. If you want to talk about a habit or an activity that you did regularly in the past, but now you don't do it anymore or any longer, we can utilize or we can employ the structure used to. For instance, when you say, I used to smoke, I used to smoke. As you can see, used to is followed by the infinitive of the verb all the time. So, I used to smoke. Because you are using the structure used to, it means that the habit of smoking is a thing of the past. You don't smoke now. So when you say I used to smoke, you are implicitly saying that smoking was something you did in the past and you have quit. Now you don't smoke anymore. So using the structure used to followed by the infinitive of the verb dictates that we are talking about a habit or an action that we did regularly before in the past, not now. The negative form of used to is didn't use to. Of course, after didn't, we talked about this when we were discussing the past simple tense. After didn't, we have to use the infinitive of the verb. So we cannot say didn't used to. We can't say that. We have to say didn't use to. This means that the action you're referring to in the past was not an action that you did regularly, but now you do it. For example, if we negate the same sentence that we have just mentioned, if you say, I didn't use to smoke, I didn't use to smoke, this means that in the past you didn't smoke, but now you do, which means that negating the structure, making it didn't use to rather than used to, means that the sentence has an opposite meaning. So instead of saying that this habit was a past habit that you did regularly before, negating the sentence means that this habit was not something that you did regularly in the past, but now you do it regularly. And of course, if you want to ask about a habit of somebody in the past, you ask them by saying, did you use to smoke? Which means, in the past, did you have the habit of smoking? Did you use to smoke? Also, in questions, after did, we must use the infinitive of the verb. So we cannot say, did you used to smoke? We have to use the infinitive, so we say, did you use to smoke? And that's a past simple question beginning with did, which means that it's a yes or no question, and we can answer it with one of two possibilities. We can either say, yes, I did, which means I used to smoke in the past, or no, I didn't, which means I didn't use to smoke in the past. Let me give you a couple of more examples. I used to play tennis a lot. I used to play tennis a lot, but I don't play very often now. But I don't play very often now. Another example. David used to spend a lot of money on clothes. David used to spend a lot of money on clothes, which means that David's habit from the past was spending a lot of money on clothes. These days he can't afford it. These days, he can't afford it, which means that now he doesn't have this habit any longer because he doesn't have the purchase power. He doesn't have the affordability to do that, which is spending a lot of money on clothes. This building is a furniture shop now. This building is a furniture shop now. It used to be a cinema. It used to be. As you can see, after used to, we employ the infinitive of the verb. And the infinitive of verb to be is be. So we say, it used to be a cinema, which means that the past situation, which doesn't exist now, is that this building was a cinema. Now it's a furniture shop. Nicole used to have very long hair when she was a child. Nicole used to have, used to plus infinitive, have. Nicole used to have very long hair when she was a child. So using the structure used to necessitates that she doesn't have long hair now, even if the sentence doesn't mention that. Just as the sentence is using the structure used to, this means that the situation now is different. It's unlike how it used to be or how it was in the past. One last point which is very worth mentioning is a comparison between used to and be used to. What do I mean by be used to? I mean using verb to be in its three forms, am or is or are, followed by used to. For example, if I say, let's get back to the basic example that we mentioned at the beginning of the session. When I say I used to smoke, we said that this means that I smoked in the past, but I don't do now. I don't do it now. But that's completely different to saying I am used to smoking. You see, I am is verb to be, is one of the forms of verb to be. I am used to. Because you are using verb to be before used to in the form of am, we must follow used to with the ing form of the verb rather than the infinitive that we used in case of used to alone without verb to be. So what is the difference in meaning between the two? When you say I am used to smoking, this means that you are accustomed to smoking. This means that smoking is your habit right now, because we are using verb to be in the present, I am. So the meaning is actually quite the opposite. I used to smoke means that I don't smoke now. But I am used to smoking means that I smoke now regularly. It's something that I am accustomed to. It's something that I do regularly. So, used to is followed by the infinitive of the verb. It means that the action happened regularly in the past as a habit, but it doesn't happen now. Be used to, which is am or is or are, used to, this is followed by the ing form of the verb, and it refers to something that we do in the present and that we are accustomed to doing. One more example to demonstrate the difference between the two. I used to live alone. I used to live alone. This means that I lived alone in the past, but now I no longer do. Now I don't live alone anymore. So that's I used to live alone. As opposed to I am used to living alone. I'm used to living alone. This means I am accustomed to living alone. I live alone in the present, at present. I live alone, and I don't find it strange. I don't find it difficult because I have been living alone for some time, so now it's become my current situation. This is the status quo or the state of affairs that's going on right now, and I don't find it weird or odd. And here we come to the end of our lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that the information presented in it was beneficial to you. Stay tuned for our upcoming lessons and our following episodes. Enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye for now.